Hello everyone. Today in this video, I'm going to build a random quiz generator from a content file. I have a Word document which is about musical instruments and their specifications. And we want to generate multiple choice questions for a user. I created the required backend service for this solution in the previous video using Azure OpenAI resources. You can find the video link in the description. But in this video, which is the second part basically, I'm gonna focus on creating a front-end application using .NET Blazor to use the created API and show random generated questions on a web page. Alrighty, first, let's have a look at a quick demo of what is going to be built. I've created a Blazor server web application. And I've used the counter page, which is as a part of the template project that is created by Visual Studio. So I've changed that page to render our questions in that page. So if I go to the counter page, I've added a button here. If I click on that button, it calls the Azure OpenAI backend service, and it's hooked up to the search service, which is on top of our Word document, and it generates 5 questions for us from that document, which is about musical instruments, and then it shows those questions on the screen. So let's click on that button. Takes few seconds, and then we'll have that questions rendered on the page. Here you go. So as you can see, we've got the questions and the answers, and also we've got the correct answer here hidden that you can just have a look at that by clicking on the show answer. So if I, for example, choose clarinet for the first one, you can check my answer. Here you go. Lucky, it was correct. For the second question, if I choose this answer and check that, you see that the answer is percussion instrument and brass instrument is wrong, and so on and so forth. So this is what we want to build in this video. Okay, I start with creating a new project. Create a Blazor server app. Give it a name. Click next. I don't have .NET 8 installed on this computer, so I choose .NET 6, but you can do the same steps for .NET 8. It works. You don't need HTTPS as it's just on my local, and I create on create. Once the project is created, first of all, I create a data model for deserializing the AI agent response, which is a JSON object. So add a class, name it my quiz, add some properties to this class. This property is based on the JSON structure that we asked in the previous video from the AI agent to generate for us. Just as a reminder, we had 7 fields in the JSON structure, and this data model file is based on this data structure to deserialize the response and put it in an object. We also have one more property here, show answer, which is for hiding or displaying the correct answer in the UI, and it's not in the JSON structure. Next, for this demo, I used one of the existing template pages here, the counter page. So I'm going to just change this to just read data from AI Engine and display it here. I just replaced the page title on page header with my stuff. So I call it quiz generator, and we have a button there. The button title is generate quiz, and it's calling generate quiz click handler. So I'll add this into our code section. So I get rid of this stuff here. add generate quiz method here. Also, I add an override on initialize async method here. This method is run at page load, so we can just put our stuff that we want them to be run at the page load. Alrighty, now it's time to install OpenAI NeoGet package. So right click on the solution, manage NeoGet package, go to browse and search for Azure AI OpenAI package and install the latest stable one. If it gets installed successfully, you'll have a green tick next to its icon, and you can see that in the installed section as well. So we're done with this part. Close this, go back to the counter.razor file. As we discussed in the previous video, when you create your OpenAI service and make it work in the chat playground, it gives you a sample code for calling that service through SDK or through a NuGet package. You can see this code on the screen. This code doesn't work straight away, so you need to have a play with that a bit. But this is definitely a good starting point. You can use it as a base code that you want to use, but you need some changes in that. So I add a different part of the code in the sample that we are creating, and then we'll go through them one by one. First, I add the required using on top of the code section. So you've got that stuff here. So I just need to change this to demo and should be fine. Now I create some variables that we need them later, and I'll explain what those variables are. So the first variable is the Azure OpenAI endpoint. If you go back to the chat playground, it's coming from here, this section. The URL is at the very top of the sample code. Second variable is deployment name, and if you go back to chat playground, it comes from this section, from the deployment section. You don't need to use the version name, it's only the first parts, which is in this case GPT-4o mini. So that's the deployment name. Search endpoint is the name of OpenAI search service that you've created, and then .search.windows.net. Search index is the name of search index that you created when you were setting up the AI search service. Search key is coming from here in chat playground at very top. The top key is the Azure search resource key that you use it there. And the last one is OpenAI API key. This one's coming from bottom of the sample code page here in the chat playground. So this API key is used there. So for security reason, I've just obscured this key here, but you need to put the complete key in these variables when you want to use it. These are the constants that we need them later. We also need two variables, one from chat client and one from chat completion options, which is the SDK classes that we create object from those. We create these variables here at the very top to have them global in the code section, and then we initialize them later. In uninitialized async method, we add this initialization code here. As you can see, we have an error here, and the error is saying that this method or this SDK method is for evaluation purposes only and is subject to change. So to get rid of this error, we need to add a compiler directive. So we go to the top and we add this compiler directive at the very top. And we need to close it at the very bottom. So by adding this, the error goes away. Just quickly go through what is happening here in this method. We are connecting to the OpenAI service using its endpoint and its API key, and we are getting a chat client for that deployment name and store it in the chat client object. So using this object, we can just communicate with the AI agent. I also set up the chat completion options. We set up temperature and top B, which is telling the AI agent to generate the random response in different times that we are calling the service. So this way, if you call the agent, it returns different set of quiz questions for you instead of just returning the fixed questions every time. We also need to add our data source. Uh, our data source here is the Word document that we just uploaded that to the storage account, and it's in a global storage. We use the search service endpoint and search index name that we created in the search service. Also the API key for that to connect to the search service and add that data source to our chat completion options. So we created that AI search service in previous video, so feel free to have a look at that if you want more details. Now we get to the generate quiz method. Here, first we need to create our chat completion request. It means that we need to tell AI agent what is its role and what is the instruction to generate a quiz or generate a response for us, which is called prompt basically. So if I just paste the prompt that I have here, so we create a object from chat completion class, and then we use the chat client complete chat method. The chat client is initialized here at the top, and then we need to provide two chat messages for this method. The first one is system chat message, which is the AR role, and the second one is user chat message, which means what we want from AI agent. So this is AI role, and this is what we are asking from the AI agent. And chat completion options is the last parameter here. We set that up here in the page load method. So about this prompt, I just grabbed it from chat playground here in the give the model instructions and context, and pasted that to our code. It needed a little bit of polish, but this is how it looks like after polishing that in our code. Uh, so it's basically giving some instructions to the AI agent about how we want the quiz to be generated. And we just went through this in the previous video again. So we are just using that value here in our code. Then in next line, we just read the AI generated response, which is a string, and it should be a JSON string based on what we asked from the AI agent. And lastly, we just deserialize the JSON string. Uh, as you can see, the AI response is deserialized to a list of my quiz. And this variable, we need to just declare it above as a global variable. So we can just access it everywhere that we need. So we just bring it at the very top. And there you go. We should be fine with that. Now I just add a piece of code at the very top below the generate quiz button to display these generated questions on the page. We are checking the generated quiz variable here to see if it's null. Uh, if it's not null, we just display the generated questions on the page. This variable is the variable that we just created here. So if it's not null, uh, we just go through the uh, questions in that object, and we print the question number first and then the question title, and then in a for loop we are uh, creating for radio button for answers. In last part we just displaying the correct answer, or we have a button to just hide the correct answer. So if a user clicks on the show answer, it sets this flag that we've got in our model, and then just display the answer to the user. So this is how it works. Okay, let's just build it to make sure it gets built. The build started. There you go. The build is succeeded. I put this code in my GitHub as well. So if you want to access the code, you can go to the GitHub and search for OZAP Builder YouTube channel samples. And if you press enter, this repository comes up. If you go to the repo, there is a quiz Blazor server app demo. And if you go to that folder, I just added the counter razor file, and you can find that file. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you find it valuable. Thanks for watching.